She stood at the sink, still in her blazer, dropping her toad on the counter like it weighed a ton. I told her, "Jenna, we need to talk. There's a wall between us." She didn't look up. She twisted the faucet off with 2 fingers, reached for a towel, and answered like she was reading a grocery list. "Can this wait? I'm wiped." "It's been waiting for 2 months," I replied. "You sleep facing the edge of the bed. You leave before I wake up. You touch your phone more than you touch me." She flicked a glance over her shoulder. "Drama's not attractive, Mark." "I'm not selling tickets," I said. "I'm asking where my wife went." She smirked without smiling. "Maybe try flowers. Or plan something. Something not about you." "I planned dinner last week. You canceled. Twice. Clients. Deadlines. You know real life." "It's our life," I said. She turned, folded the towel, set it down too neatly. "I'm taking a shower." She walked past me like I was an end table. The bathroom door thudded. Steam started. In the mirror over the sink, my face looked like a guy who'd kept calm for too long. I wanted to believe it was a phase, a bad quarter, something fixable with a weekend away. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have saved my breath and my receipts. I put the kettle on and stared at the 4 magnets on the fridge, 1 from Lake George, 1 from Sedona, 2 from little towns we'd wandered through before life became a calendar invite. I texted her, even though she was 10 feet away. "I booked Friday at Rocco's. 7 p.m. Just us." The bubbles hissed. She didn't respond. The first reply came the next morning from her work phone. "Friday doesn't work. Push to Monday." I wrote, "Monday then. Not optional." 3 dots showed up. Then nothing. I didn't nag. I did what I do best. I made a decision with a deadline. Monday I'd put it on the table again. If she stonewalled, I'd change the rules. When Monday came, she walked into the kitchen adjusting a cufflink bracelet, eyes on her screen. "Can we do takeout?" she asked. "I'm buried." "Sit," I told her. 10 minutes. "Then I'll carry this week any way you need." She pulled a stool back. "Make it 5. "Okay," I said. 5 it is." "Start," she said, tugging her sleeve. "We're not okay." "Define okay." "You've stopped reaching for me. You speak to me like a coworker you don't like. If something's wrong, tell me. If you're checked out, say that too." Her phone lit up. She flipped it face down. "You always jump to extremes." I leaned on the island. "I'm too old for games." "You're also too serious for a Tuesday," she shot back. "This mood, it's suffocating." "Then open a window," I said. "I booked us a cabin by the lake next month. 3 days. No laptops." She laughed, quick and joyless. "You booked something without asking me. I'm your husband, not your pen pal." "Cancel it," she said. "I have a conference that weekend." "You sure you want to make that your answer?" I asked. She pushed from the stool. "Make your own plans, Mark." "I just did," I said, and let her walk out. I booked a solo day on Saturday at my friend Lee's auto shop to help him finish a Mustang restoration. If she wanted distance, I could measure it in miles and oil stains. A woman who refuses a lake trip for a conference just told me where she ranks us. I heard it loud and clear. The week rolled forward with her little signals. She'd come home at 9 with a breezy, "Don't wait up tomorrow." She'd set her phone face down. She started locking it. On the 3rd Thursday, she returned in a new dress I didn't recognize, smelling like a perfume she never wore at home. "Nice dress," I said. She spun her car key on a finger. "Perks of working late." "Looks expensive." She shrugged. "Managed. The store call you at work and tell you to pick it up in a booth somewhere?" She threw me a look. "You hear yourself?" "Every day," I said. "And I'm done auditioning for my own marriage." She ignored that. I watched her toss the dress on a chair, peel an orange, and leave the peels on the counter for me to deal with. The disrespect wasn't loud. It was efficient. Saturday, I moved a few of my tools out of the garage and into my truck. New habit. New rule. My stuff, my schedule. She didn't ask why. She didn't ask anything. Monday morning, she put a calendar invite on my phone. Dinner with clients, 7 p.m. I replied with my own. Boundary talk, 6:30 p.m. When I got home early and set plates, she came in laughing into her phone and saw the table. "What is this?" she asked. "Us," I answered. 30 minutes. She lowered her voice into the mic. "I'll call you back." Phone down. Arms crossed. "Quickly. I'm not your backup plan," I said. "You don't book me around clients. I don't accept being spoken to like a chore. I'm done volunteering for cold silence. If we're partners, Act like it. If we're roommates, say so. Mark, you're being extreme again. That line's expired. I told her. New rules. I'm not moving towards someone who moves away. I'll stop initiating. I'm compartmentalizing money. I'll cook for myself. I'll respect your distance. And we keep it polite in public. If you want warmth, you reach. Wow, she said. You rehearsed that. I wrote it in my head while replacing spark plugs. She dropped into a chair. So you're punishing me with independence? I'm protecting my time and self-respect, I replied. You treat me like an option. You get the version of me who treats you like a neighbor. Her eyes flicked to the clock. I'm late. Good, I said. Then you can be late somewhere else. She grabbed her clutch. At the door she threw, You're acting insecure. I picked up my wallet. No, I'm acting finished. She left. I turned off half the lights. I slept well for the first time in weeks. 2 days later, she came home early with a paper box from the bakery. She set it down. I got your favorite, she said. Chocolate mousse. That's thoughtful, I said, not moving from the stool where I was sorting receipts. She cleared her throat. I've been stressed. I don't mean to take it out on you. Noted. I can try Friday night, she offered. No phone. Appreciated, I said, and sliced the cake. I ate a forkful. It tasted like a peace offering wrapped around a calculation. I let it sit. She tried small talk. I gave her simple answers. She leaned in once, hand on my forearm, then pulled back when I didn't chase it. That was her first soft pivot, just enough sweetness to see if the faucet still worked. Friday night didn't happen. At 5, a text. Emergency at the office. Rain check. I answered with a thumbs up and booked a table for one at a steak place off the highway. At the bar, I watched a minor league game on the TV. A guy next to me, Cole, HVAC tech I'd met through Lee, saw me, clinked a bottle. You solo, he asked. Easiest date I've had in months, I replied. He looked at my ring finger. You good? I'm decisive, I said. He nodded like he knew that language. We talked cars and work. I didn't chase her away. Inside, the house smelled faintly like citrus and a stranger's cologne. The neighbor's porch light clicked on. Mrs. Ruth from across the street waved. She had the kind of eyes that notice everything and comment on nothing. We crossed paths at breakfast the next morning. She looked bright, new blowout, weekend bag by the door. You going somewhere? I asked. Yoga retreat, she said quickly. Mountains. No service. Whose mountains? I asked. She made a face. Wow. Take the new dress, I said, and poured coffee. It likes weeknights. She grabbed the bag, tossed. Don't wait up, as if it was still a joke. I didn't. I put my mug in the sink, took out my phone, and opened a contact I never thought I'd use. A private investigator an old client once mentioned when his son got into trouble and needed clarity. The guy's name was Grant. Former military, now spends his days proving or disproving the stories people tell themselves. I sent him a short message. Need to know where my wife spends her weeknights. Discretion. I pay. He called back in an hour. You want eyes and timestamps, he said. I want the truth, I answered. No drama. No gossip. 7 days. If she's clean, you'll be mad at me for nothing. If she's not, you'll thank me for being thorough. Do it, I said. For a week, I did not change my routine. I woke up at 5. I went to the job site. I led my crew on a kitchen remodel and a deck. The guys, Mateo, whose jokes come with a wink, Randall, who keeps spreadsheets in his head, noticed I was quieter, more precise. You okay, boss? Mateo asked, rasping a board smooth. I'm focused, I said. Evenings I went to Lee's shop, put in 2 hours on the Mustang, cleaned tools like I was blessing them. Jenna's texts were short. Home late. Don't wait. Busy. I gave her thumbs ups and one-word acknowledgments. At work, Denise from accounting stopped by my desk. You look like you slept, she said. I upgraded my mattress, I replied. On day 6, Grant sent me a message. It was a photo. Jenna at a corner table in a restaurant I recognized, leaning into a man with barber fresh hair and a watch he wanted people to see. Another photo. Her walking with him into an apartment building where the doorman lifted a lid without being asked. Third photo. My driveway, late afternoon Thursday, her laughing as that same man slipped inside our house while my truck was parked at the job site. Timestamped. Precision. No captions. Grant didn't editorialize. He didn't have to. The next day, a folder landed in my inbox. Times, places, routes. I scrolled once. That was enough. The respect died quiet. I didn't cry, didn't pace, didn't throw. I sat at the kitchen table, my hands flat, and I did what you do when a structure fails inspection. You tag it, you budget the demolition, you salvage what's worth salvage, and you schedule the dump run. I called my buddy Hal, who runs payroll for our company. Hypothetical, I said. If a man wanted to untangle joint accounts quickly and cleanly, how would he schedule transfers? Hal's voice dropped. You're sure? I'm disciplined. Then keep it simple, he said. House is in both names. Yep. Refi out of the question? Unnecessary. I'm exiting. Then separate operating budgets now. No drama. Set up a new checking for your income. Stop covering discretionary that isn't yours. Be factual in your memo. You know the drill. I do, I said. I typed an email that afternoon setting new household rules. Shared bills would be paid from the joint, nothing more. Personal spends were personal. Food would be bought separately. I attached a color-coded sheet. No anger, just numbers. I CC'd it to both our emails and printed a copy on the counter like an invoice to reality. At dinner, she walked in, saw the paper, frowned. What's this? She asked. A budget, I said. Friendlier than I should be. Her jaw tilted. This is controlling. This is accounting, I replied. You want independence, you have it. With independence comes responsibility. She crossed her arms. So you're punishing me because I'm busy. I took a sip of water. I'm correcting an imbalance. If she noticed the files open on my laptop behind me, the ones with folder names like asset breakdown and storage unit, she didn't comment. Or she saw them and thought I was bluffing. People see what comforts them. 2 days later, she softened again, second pivot. She came into the garage while I was labeling boxes with a black marker. I've been thinking, she started. Maybe we take that lake weekend you mentioned. I can move the conference. I kept the marker. Now. I hate tension, she said. I miss when we were easy. Easy is earned, I told her. Also, I booked my time. With who? She asked. Lee. Mustang overhaul. We're pulling the engine Saturday. So you'd rather spend the weekend with a car than with me? She pressed, stepping closer. I set the marker down. I'd rather spend the weekend with respect. She exhaled, reached for my arm, and let her hand rest. Can we reset? I met her eyes. There was a wet shine in them. It looked like sincerity if you ignored the timestamps. We can be civil, I said. That's my reset. She lifted her hand slowly. She left the garage. 30 minutes later, I got a text. Staying at Dana's tonight. I need space. Dana is her co-worker who thinks men are training projects. I smiled at the wall. Grant had included a photo of Dana's building 2 days ago. It had a different address. I booked an appointment with a mediator the next morning. Not a fight. A process. I also rented a small storage unit by the highway and bought packing tape. I told no one except Cole and Lee. Grown men who've lived enough know when to talk and when to carry boxes. That afternoon at the job site, Mateo whistled. Boss, you're humming. You never hum. Engine day tomorrow, I said. You're good, right? He pressed. I'm clear, I answered. That's better than good. He bumped my shoulder with his. If you need extra hands for, moving, you got a crew. Saturday, I said. Bring gloves. By the time Friday rolled around, the decision was no longer a decision. It was logistics. The private file sat on my home office desk. Dissolution papers, asset chart, a checklist. I set a time delivery through a legal service for the Friday of her birthday week, for days out. No spectacle, just reality arriving on time. We drifted like neighbors, please and thanks, movement around each other in the kitchen, doors closed at night. She had grown bold in the quiet, which told me she had misread silence as fear. That suited me. I pulled some cash. I booked a tea time. I called Cole and told him to keep Saturday open. He hooped. We'll wear you out right, he said. No speeches. Saturday morning, Jenna stood by the island with a suitcase. I'm going with the girls for my birthday, she announced. We'll be in Florida. Don't text unless it's an emergency. Do Dana and the others know you're coming? I asked, opening the fridge. She blinked. Why do you say it like that? Like a sentence, I said, pulling out orange juice. Have fun. If you're going to sulk, at least do it quietly, she said. This trip's been planned for weeks. Of course it has, I said. You're very organized. She tilted her head. You don't get to be mad because I'm not sitting home on my birthday. I crooked a finger toward the suitcase. Don't miss your flight. She zipped her lip into a line and wheeled the bag out, chin up. At the door she paused. If you don't like it, file for divorce, she said loudly, like a dare pitched across a street. I took a slow sip of juice. Noted. She left in a cloud of self-satisfaction so thick you could bag it and sell it as confidence. I waited 5 minutes. Then I texted the group thread. Game on. Cole pulled up with a trailer and a grin. Mateo showed with coffee. Denise and her husband dropped off a dozen flat-pack boxes. They'd been through their own winter last year and understood the steps. We cleared the closet, folded what was hers into suitcases, labeled Jenna, bedroom, Jenna, bath, Jenna, office. I took nothing of hers that wasn't clearly hers. We were machines. By noon, the storage unit hummed with zipper sounds. I changed the garage code to something new. I closed the joint credit card. I moved my direct deposit. I left the shared utilities alone. Humanity matters even when respect doesn't. Cole leaned on the truck bed. You good? He asked. I'm not celebrating, I said. I'm adjusting. He pointed 2 fingers at me like a salute. That's why you'll be fine. We grilled that night at Lee's place. Nothing heroic. Burgers, some music nobody argued about. The Mustang shining with new hoses. I wasn't trying to look strong. I was doing what strong people do, acting like my decisions had already happened. Her week away turned into my week in motion. Paperwork finalized with signatures on my side. The legal service confirmed delivery arranged for Friday morning. I booked a cleaner. I had the locks rekeyed on the side door after she left, not to keep her out, but to make the symbol clear to myself. We're not on the same team. She posted a photo from Girls Brunch with a margarita and a caption about self-care. People I didn't know wrote heart emojis. I didn't comment. I went golfing with Cole and Randall. They were terrible and loud. I let myself laugh at the sight of 2 grown men arguing over a lost ball like it mattered. Thursday night, I sat on my couch and watched a documentary with the sound up. The house felt like a house again, solid, predictable. I slept. Friday came quick. The service pinged me. Documents delivered. I replied with a simple, received. I set the folder on the kitchen table and clipped a note on top. Sign when you're ready. Your belongings are in the primary bedroom, packed. The storage unit key is on the counter. I'll be at Lee's if you need to drop the key later. I didn't dress the table with drama. I didn't arrange the photographs like a gallery. I slid a few prints under the first page, time-stamped, factual. She could look or not. The point wasn't theater. It was the end of permission. By late afternoon, I lay on the couch, game on. My phone face down on the coffee table, not because I had secrets, but because I liked the silence. The garage door hummed. Front door opened. Heels clicked a rhythm of I'm back. She came into the living room in travel clothes, skin kissed by a sun I didn't see, rolling that suitcase like a victory lap. Hello, she said, wide smile, voice too loud. Your wife is home from her vacation. Going to act excited, or what? I tapped the remote. The sound dipped. I let half a beat pass. Why'd you come back? I asked flatly. The airport forget to keep you? She stopped. The smile stalled. Excuse me. Right, I said. I forgot. Papers are on the table. Your bags are in the bedroom. You can go now. That line hit her like a light cutting. She stood very still, then moved to the table. She picked up the first page. I watched her eyes track lines. She flipped. She saw the photos. The bravado drained out of her posture like someone pulled a plug. Pride went first. Then the little practiced smirk. Finally the noise. She looked at me. Nothing came out. She looked back down. She didn't accuse. Didn't spin. Didn't run a speech about how I misunderstood. She understood everything. She understood the sequence, the week away, the silent man who stopped asking. She set the paper down carefully, like it might break. Your suitcase is in the bedroom, I repeated. Key to the storage units on the counter. Don't forget it. She swallowed. I don't like seeing people small, even when they earned it. But I respected the moment by not filling it. She went down the hall. I heard zippers, drawers sliding. I didn't get up. She made 3 trips to the car without looking at me. On the last one, she grabbed the storage key, paused at the threshold like a swimmer looking at cold water, then left. The house settled behind her. I exhaled once, because breath belongs to whoever stays. I didn't text anyone. I didn't toast to freedom. I turned the sound back up and watched the last inning. Then I stood, took the papers off the table, put them in a folder, and slid the folder into a drawer. Chapter finished. 2 days later, Cole pulled into my driveway with a toolbox. "Garage shelves?" he asked. "Garage shelves," I said. We put up a clean row. I hung my own gear, not because I was that guy now, but because order is a good anti-anxiety drug. My phone buzzed once that afternoon with a number I recognized. Jenna. I let it ring out. She didn't try again. She didn't show up. People think speeches fix facts. They don't. A week after that, I bought a used F-150 in good shape from a guy moving to the city. Paperwork done in an hour, no nonsense, no finance office, protection packages. I drove it to the hardware store, grabbed what I needed, and went home like I'd always done it alone. Denise invited me to a cookout with her and her husband's circle. Real adults, normal conversation about mortgages and teenagers who leave lights on. A woman named Claire laughed at my description of the Mustang's stubborn alternator. She had surgeon's hands and a dry humor that made me feel like I wasn't auditioning. We exchanged numbers without ceremony. No promises, just a normal beginning. Work clicked. We finished the deck early. The client, a gruff retired teacher, shook my hand like he meant it. "Your crew shows up on time," he said. "That's rare. We show up for ourselves first," I told him. A month passed. The paperwork returned with her signature the way a package returns when it's addressed wrong. My lawyer, basic, efficient, handled the filing and the logistics. No courtroom, no drama. The mediator sent a closing email. All items resolved. I clicked archive. I heard about Jenna once through the neighborhood radio. Ruth across the street chatting with someone on her porch. Not gossip, just data drifting. She moved into an apartment near downtown. Short lease. She's not around much. Translation. The new world she chose didn't come with stability. I didn't feel warm or cold. I felt done. On a Saturday morning, Claire and I drove out to a trail by the river. Coffee in a thermos. A quiet that wasn't tense. At the top, she said, "You're a calm man." It sounded like a compliment and a warning to herself. "I'm a man who likes clear lines," I replied. "Then draw them for me," she said, and smiled. "I don't chase," I told her. "I match what I get." "I can work with that," she answered. We walked back down, not in a rush. When I dropped her off, she touched my arm, not as a test, not as a crumb, but as a simple human gesture. I nodded. It felt like a normal day because it was. At home, I pulled the Mustang out into the sun. Lee came by with fresh plugs. Cole showed up with a cooler and a bad hat. We tuned the idle and tightened clamps. Nobody made speeches. Nobody toasted to anything. We just kept our hands busy and our words simple. Ruth waved from her porch. "New shelves look good," she called. "They're level," I said. "Like you," she answered, and went back to her book. For once, the house didn't feel like a waiting room. It felt like mine. There's a difference between leaving and being left. I'll take the first one every time. In the end, the loudest thing I did was close a door. And the last words I gave her were the cleanest ones I had. "Why'd you come back?" Everything after that was logistics, friends with their sleeves up, a truck that starts on the first turn, a woman who calls when she says she will, a job that rewards people who show up, and a silence that isn't punishment.